Alright, so with Sandor Clegane, it's on the road again. Okay, you got me. That is exactly how I started the previous two Arya chapters, Arya 10 and Arya 11. That is, yes, thank you for pointing that out. That was my cat. Yeah, no, I know, yes, but yeah, it still applies, it's with Sandor Clegane on the road again. And besides, each reprisal of this road trip with the Hound has always been under different circumstances, and usually under a lot of ins and outs, lots of occurrences. You know, let's take. Okay, here we go. It's just a quick recap. Previously on Arya. Let's take Arya 5 because that's when Sandor re-enters Arya's life. One crispy morning, Arya wakes up in her room at the beach, the inn/brothel, leans out of the window to see who's making all that racket that woke her up, and there he is, the Hound, in all his glory, freshly caught by the mad huntsman. That very day, he's put on trial by the Brotherhood without banners, who also confiscate the Hound's gold. This happens in Arya 6. And it quickly turns into a sort of like a trial by combat, in which Beric Dondarrion is killed by Sandor and resurrected by Thoros of Myr. That's Arya 7. At which point Clegane is free to go, minus the gold. So he comes back again to try his luck. He goes, "Oh, hello. I've come to see if I can get my gold back." And the Brotherhood just goes, nah, yeah, no, sorry, mate. Yeah, we've spent it. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Supplies and whatnot. Would you take an IOU? We've been issuing so many of them, one more, one less. But Sandor leaves, all pissed off, cartoon mumbling to himself, "I'll show you, IOU, just you wait." And sure enough, he stalks them, waiting for the opportune moment. And as they go up White Hart, to consult the Oracle, what do you call it? The ghost of the ghost of High Heart. That's it. That's the one. Sandor pops up and snatches Arya away, and there begins the road trip of this comedic duo. Right at the end of Arya 8, and along the way in Arya 9, Sandor informs Arya that he intends to take her to her brother Robb. So that's the plan. Robb is indeed attending the wedding between his uncle and Edmure and Rosalind Frey down at the Twins. So yeah, Sandor is planning to turn up there with Arya and hopefully get some cash as finder's fee or something. What could possibly go wrong, right? So, after enjoying a bit of an Oktoberfest kind of thing, tents, beer, sausages, and whatnot, a bit of an Oktoberfest at the wedding just outside the Twins in Arya 10, they finally head for the castle. At which point, the Hound presumably intends to announce himself. "Oh, hi, hello, can you get Robb for me? Yeah, and I need to speak him in person. I need to speak to him in person. Oh, yeah, hi, Robb. Yeah, remember me? Yeah, hi, I'm Sandor Clegane. Used to work for the family that had your father, Ned Stark, executed and is still holding your sister Sansa captive. Yeah, but no, I don't do that sort of bad stuff anymore. Reformed man. Yeah, I'm a changed man now. That's right. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I've got your other sister, Arya, right here with me. So, can I have some money for her?" That sounds like a great plan, doesn't it? Yeah. No, to be honest, I don't know. I don't really know what Sandor's actual plan was, because I guess he was maybe planning to press a dagger to Arya's throat, I suppose, like all mean and stuff, in order to discourage Robb from ordering some archers, to fire arrows at him, I suppose, or order his personal retinue to go out there and surround the hound. I don't know. He must have been planning something along those lines, I guess. Except that, whoops, red wedding, no can do. This was in Arya 11, where Arya still tries to get inside the castle just as the portcullis was closing, at which point Sandor just went, "Oh, no, you don't," and bang, knocked her unconscious by hitting her on the head with the back of his axe. Saving her life, actually, when you think about it. Yeah, but that was like 13 chapters ago. Yeah, how many things changed since then? And again, another recap. Jon repelled an attack from the Thanes at Castle Black. Joffrey was murdered at the Purple Wedding, for which Tyrion was arrested. Sansa fled King's Landing on Lord Peter Baelish's ship. Dontos was expandable, so that's it from him. Jaime arrived at King's Landing, Sansa left, Jaime arrived. One out, one in policy kind of thing. What else? Davos freed Edric from Melisandre's barbecue. Bran bumped into Samwell Tarly at Nightfort. All that stuff happened, in between Arya chapters, Arya 11 and this chapter here. Plus, various other things that I'm not going to tell you about because in the actual, in universe, but not on the book, because they have happened in the timeline, but they haven't yet described, narrated in the novel. So, because this chapter is slightly ahead in the future. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I haven't relayed my spoiler policy yet. Okay, so here it goes. In the off chance you might be a first-time reader, I will endeavor to keep these commentaries 100% spoiler-free. Whatever reference I might make to other chapters and books in the Song of Ice and Fire, they will be references to past chapters and books and not future ones. There, I said it. So in other words, dear listener, I'll be looking back and not ahead. Anyway, so welcome to the rambling commentaries of a mad person online, me. We're reading George R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire, in case you haven't noticed. And we are about to sink our teeth into A Storm of Swords, Arya 12. So make yourself comfortable. I shall begin. Okay, so a couple of weeks have passed, or so we can surmise, because George informs us that the bump on Arya's head can still be felt. How long does a bump on the head from an axe actually take to heal? This bump on Arya's head seems a bit like the bruise on Michael Corleone's cheek, which messes up the timeline in The Godfather because it takes forever to heal, remember? Michael has all the time to travel to Sicily, get married, see his newly wedded wife get murdered, go back to New York, and his face bruise is still there, and I realize I just spoiled The Godfather for you. My apologies. Anyway, so yeah, let's say a couple of weeks have passed, and all that stuff I listed earlier must have taken place in the space of a couple of weeks. And let's face it, the bump on the head is really the least of Arya's hurts, so to speak. She's grieving the loss of basically her entire family. So yeah. See, right now in her life, she has no reason to get up in the morning. If she had her way, she would sleep all day, especially because in her dreams she's a wolf. She's warging or skin changing with Nymeria, and all her brothers are with her. That is presumably the pack of wolves Nymeria is currently leading. Except that the Hound won't leave her be. See, it's no fun going camping with the Hound. He's always waking her up with some sort of prank, like pouring cold water over her head and then it's off to her chores, feed the horses, do this, do that. No fun at all. At least she has her own horse now, some mare they caught escaping from the twins. So Arya called her Craven. Better than nothing. Craven because she escaped. And even the company of the hound is better than nothing, I suppose, for protection and whatnot. Because where can Arya possibly go to, right now? Where could she go where she could feel safe and, belonging? Winterfell is gone. Her only living relative now that she can think of is Brynden Tully, the Blackfish at Riverrun, but she doesn't even know him, and he doesn't know her. There's Lysa Tully, Arryn, of course, same as above. Everyone else related to her is gone. It's not clear what happened to Uncle Edmure at the moment. Was he also killed at the twins, or is he a hostage? We don't know yet. So she's thinking, maybe back at Acorn Hall, the one person who was actually kind to me, Lady Smallwood, who knows? Maybe she would adopt me. Sometimes she even toys with the idea of going back to the Inn of the Kneeling Man, catching up with Hot Pie, Gendry, the whole support network of the Brotherhood without banners. But again, it's just still people from her past, and then she regrets even thinking about it because all those people either abandoned her or were only interested in her ransom, no more, no less than the Hound. So might as well stay with the Hound. And she stays with the Hound. What's not clear at the beginning of the chapter is why the Hound is keeping her, since, in his own words, she's not worth spit to him anymore. He's keeping her, though, no longer tied to a cloak, so clearly he's no longer concerned that she might run away. He's keeping her, and he keeps complaining about having to keep her. Angrily, That dude is certainly an angry person. When he chops wood, he chops it angrily. Then he falls asleep, exhausted, too tired to even light a fire with all that timber, with an axe that is still giving Arya ideas, Every day she looks at the axe, and she thinks, maybe I could still embed it into Sandor Clegane's skull, for example. Why not? But then she never actually acts on those ideas. And and they keep passing farmers, peasants, all sorts of people in the countryside. But she realizes that all those people, to her, might as well be from a different planet. Because she's thinking, small folk, even at the beginning of this saga, small folk never really had a lot in common with Arya, because, Arya being highborn and all. But at least back then, she would make friends with commoners, Micah and so on. But right now, she's on a completely different plane of existence, man. No, really, hear me out. Right now, she's become an assassin, basically. And if in the previous chapters, she might have worried about how her family would judge her if they found out what she'd done, killing people in cold blood and whatnot. And whether or not her family would take her back. Remember, she was thinking about those things. But at this point of the story, there's no family left to either judge her or take her back. So even that inhibition is now gone. You see, she's moved from the prey to the predator category right now. She's become one of the many Sandors, Sandor Cleganes, the Brothers Without Banners, bloody mummers even, In fact, she's kind of becoming closer and closer to a Jack and Agar kind of character, for lack of a better comparison, and that's all I'll say about it. But so no wonder she now looks at peasants and farmers like a wolf would look at, not even sheep, more like sparrows, the sort of prey that a wolf wouldn't even be interested in preying upon. Anyway, so that's the meaning I see in those thoughts in Arya's mind. Although I was listening to the Not a Cast podcast about this chapter, and those two guys reckon that this total lack of interest in other people could be seen as a sign of depression, which would make sense for a post-Red Wedding Arya, to go through. So yeah, let me know if you have an even different interpretation. But yeah, that's just as I said right at the beginning. It seems to have lost any motivation to wake up in the morning. Poor Arya. And then there are those other predators that she must be on the lookout for, because there's like Frey soldiers hunting for stray Northmen. In Sandor's words, dog and wolf metaphors are plenty here. Except that this North versus Crown, division, criterion, whatever, doesn't apply anymore, as Arya soon finds out when they bump into a dying archer / bowman type thing, survivor from the Red Wedding, one of Mark Piper's men. Got quite chummy with a Bolton man at the wedding, the tent outside. Got chummy with a Bolton soldier who said, "Hey, you've got a pink maiden on your sigil, and I've got a pink dude on mine," because he's been skinned alive, you see. "So we should be buddies. Yeah, both Northmen and all that. Let's have a toast." And sure enough, when the betrayal and attack plan unfolded, the Bolton man hit the poor guy with a mace and left him for dead. And he now recognizes Sandor Clegane as well, as he recognizes him as Joffrey's dog, so to speak. Sandor is kind of like a celebrity, everyone with a memorable face. So, except that Joffrey's former dog treats the guy more decently than supposedly a fellow Northerner, because he offers him water and the gift of mercy, a quick death, because the guy is clearly in agony. So he goes to Arya. Now observe, because I'll only do this once, yeah? This is how you stab a man mortally in the heart. And then he does the deed. Which almost sounds like an answer to Arya's moping, because at the beginning of the chapter she was all like she felt there was a hole in her heart, a hole where her heart should be. And now the hound is literally telling her, look, this is where the heart is, okay? In case you forgot. But right before dying, the guy, the dying soldier, gulps the water down like there's no tomorrow, which in his case it's true. And he just has enough time to say, "Oh man, I wish it was wine." To which Sandor just goes, "Yeah, me too." I don't know about you, but to me it seems that Sandor here is not saying, "Yeah, me too, so I drink it myself." But it seems like he's rather saying, "I wish I could at least offer you some wine to send you off in style." I don't know. I keep trying to find shreds of decency in this man. Especially because he robs the dude, right after killing him, much to Arya's protests. So, come on. Let there be some redeeming quality in the hound, who nonetheless decides not to bury the man because he's not worth it. He wouldn't have cared. How do you know that, Sandor, huh? He goes, no, he don't care. We might as well leave him to our kin, he says. Stray dogs and wolves. Still, when he robs the dead guy, he does give this one dagger he finds on his body to Arya, so yeah. Until one day they find themselves in the mountains of the moon. So they've been traveling east. They've been traveling east. And then that's where we find out that what plan the resourceful hound has concocted now. He plans to get a ransom from Lysa Tully Arryn this time. Yeah. That's the other option, you see. So it's off to the Eyrie. And Arya is all like, "Oh, well, same as Uncle Brynden. I don't even know the crazy gal." And listen to what she says next. "We should go back to the twins and get my mother. She can't be dead. We have to help her." Now, I'm just reminding you, for no reason in particular, that Arya regularly wargs or skin changes with her direwolf Nymeria, as we'll see in a minute. Just saying. Keep that information for later in the book. Because that very night, she does dream she can see and smell Catelyn lying somewhere in a river, surrounded by a bunch of other dead bodies, wolves and crows all around. It's all very confusing because she's seen the whole thing from the eyes of a wolf. And that's when she sees her. So she swims towards her as Nymeria, you know? And in her dream, which may not be a dream, she closes her jaws on Catelyn's arm and pulls her body ashore, only to be interrupted by the arrival of men on horses, at which point all the wolves scatter and then Arya wakes up. So these men are described here. Let me read you the quote. These men are described as men on horses with flapping black and yellow and pink wings and long shiny claws in hand. Okay, not much to go on here, to determine who these men are. Swords in hands, okay, that's the shiny claws, duh. And the multicolored wings or cloaks seem to indicate that A, they're not Freys, and B, they're not riding under one single banner. In fact, one might say they're not riding under any banner at all. Okay, I've said too much already. And I like the fact that in the morning, the Hound still tries to explain to Arya why they can't go back and see if her mother is still alive and maybe try to rescue her. I mean, I like that because he didn't have to do that, you know, but for some reason he tries to reason with her. Actually, what he does say is this. He says, you see this thing about your mother, yeah? Which, I don't know. Could it even mean he was going to say, hey, look, I lost people too, you know? But you've got to pull yourself together. Don't let this defeatist attitude get the best of you. Or is it too much to hope for, you know, for the Hound to say things like that, like some kind of a motivator, you know, self-help guru, whatever. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Be it as it may, this time it's Arya who goes, yeah, nah, mate, nah, it's not worth it. I think she's dead now because I saw her in a dream, which puzzles Sandor for a bit, but yeah, nothing worth losing sleep over. So, all right, let's get on with our lives. Anyway, somewhere up in the hills, they come across a tiny village. Would you believe it? That is where the Hound decides to settle down and get a job. What are you going to do? People change. I mean, I don't mean go through the whole process, you know, get a haircut, put together some kind of resume, get ready to turn up at interviews in the morning. How do I look? Nah, none of that. I mean, he just sees a village, decides it's time to get some food and a roof over his and Arya's heads, and he's immediately offered those things, you know, food and roof, in exchange for farm work and whatnot. Plus ale. Not in exchange for ale. They will give him ale, as well as food and a roof over his head. So it could be worse. Except that the ale really is detrimental to Sandor's ambitions, you know, because day after day he tends to chill with a beer right after work, and the whole plan of going to Lysa up in the Eyrie becomes that sort of thing that one keeps postponing, you know. Oh yeah, we'll go someday. Nah, not now. No, not now. Look, it's already started to snow in the high passes. Winter is coming and all that, yeah. Plus the villagers warned them, you know, the mountain clans. Remember those from the previous two books? They're back, you know, the deaf men, the clans. I forgot the names. You know, Timid, son of this and that, Timid, One Eye, those guys. You remember them from Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings. They're back, and they're fiercer than ever. And they're better armed as well. They've got steel now, good swords and mail hauberks. Gee, I wonder where they got those things from, yeah? And they're raiding villages now. up there on the hills with that steel. Actually, Sandor would be even too familiar with stone crows. Yeah, that's the one name that's popping up in my head right now. Anyway, they all sound like rock bands. But I was saying Sandor would be even too familiar with those guys, the mountain clans, the mountains of the Vale. Because the villagers mention this Timmet One Eye, they mention, whoever do they mention? Gunthor, son of Gurn, the leader of the Stone Crows. And Sandor must remember those fellas because from the days when they were all at court on Tyrion Lannister's payroll. In fact, they even met in the throne room. I remember, I wrote it down here. See Sansa 3, the chapter, Sansa 3 chapter from Clash of Kings. This was when Joffrey ordered Sandor to beat Sansa, as you do, But Dontos interrupted and hit Sansa with a melon. So Joffrey had Boros punch Sansa and strike her with the flat of his sword. At which point Sandor objected. See, Sansa had her share of supporters, even in the throne room. Anyway, the whole thing was interrupted by the arrival of Tyrion Lannister with Bronn and Timett. See? And this was also when Sandor tossed his cloak to Sansa, to cover herself, because Boros... That's right, I forgot to tell you. Boros stripped her of her dress under orders from Joffrey. What a pair of scumbags, Joffrey and Boros, huh? There, I said it, huh? At the risk of sounding controversial. But yeah, I told you, there is a decent man trapped inside the Hound. Deep inside. And he's not keen, and the Hound is not keen on encountering those mountain clans, the clan leaders again, because he did say at the beginning of the chapter that he wanted to be in a place where no one knows who he is for a change. Sorry. I don't know what came over me. and also we don't know what might have happened between him and those mountain clan leaders, because they might have had some skirmishes, arguments, whatever. We don't know. Anyway, so he's not keen on meeting them. And you will remember that Tyrion armed those clans just to go back to the brand new steel that they're wielding. Tyrion armed those clans, namely, he basically allowed them to help themselves to any old piece of junk, by Lannister standards, any piece of junk from the armory in the Red Keep, as a way of getting back at Lysa Targaryen, part of Tyrion's plan to, and I quote, reduce the Vale of Arryn to a smoking wasteland. Because of that whole business of throwing Tyrion in a cell in the Eyrie, which, okay, might have become a major nuisance to Lysa, these mountain clans. Granted, because those clans are now better equipped, to disrupt her supplies, whatever comes from, I don't know, Heart's Home, Gulltown, I don't know. My point is that ultimately Lysa is safe up there because the Eyrie is impregnable, while, as per usual in this saga, it's the small folk who bear the brunt, because, the mountain clans are raiding villages. Anyway, so moving on. This is the village where Arya realizes, basically that she's been robbed of her childhood. That's what she realizes there, because there's this girl in the village about the same age as Arya, follows her everywhere, always carrying this doll that's supposed to look like a knight, or a soldier, or whatever. And Arya is always like, piss off, leave me alone. See, this girl is actually living her age, what's the expression? Acting her age. Living like a girl Arya's age should. But Arya has got this hole, in her heart, as she describes her. She described it herself. So one day she loses it with a girl and grabs the doll. She goes, "This thing is no soldier. I have seen my share of soldiers. Let me show you how soldiers actually look." And proceeds to rip the thing apart. Because that's what soldiers look like in her experience, all messed up and mostly dead. So yeah, she's just caused some PTSD in a poor innocent girl who had never done her any harm. Of course, the Hound now, now that he's living in relative comfort, he's thinking, why don't we stay up here a while? Because the Freys are still a menace in the Riverlands right now. The mountain clans up in the hills. Maybe we could just send Liza, I don't know, a letter. That's a proposition which Arya doesn't like one bit, because she hates that village. She hates how cowardly the villagers look to her, or maybe she hates how peaceful it is. The way the countryside around Winterfell should have looked, if all that hadn't been taken away from her and her family. But when all the farm works are done, even the plan of settling down there goes out of the window. The farm works is not much of farm work. The work that the Hound helped with, erecting some kind of palisade around the village, and protection and when the villagers tell the Hound in no uncertain terms, that it's been a pleasure, but now if you don't mind, we won't keep you, if you must go. What with winter coming and all, it'll be difficult to even feed our own, not to mention that you, sir, how can I put it? You have a bit of a reputation for slaughter, pillage, and plunder. Aha, goes the Hound. Ah, so you do know who I am, huh? Well, I mean, okay, so I'd be dead handy to you when those mountain clan guys show up, no? To which the villagers go, yeah, that part of the reputation is that reputation is also that you have turned chicken shit since the Battle of the Blackwater, where you deserted your post. Wow, they're really well informed, these villagers, just from going to markets and fairs, apparently. Oh, and this is probably a good time to point out that all these dialogues are slightly paraphrased, in case you didn't notice. But anyway, so the Hound doesn't point out the glaring contradiction in the villagers' argument. I mean, which one is it? The Hound is a fierce fighter, or is he chicken shit? You can't have it both ways. But no, Sandor doesn't waste time philosophizing. He just goes, all right, just pay us and we'll make ourselves scarce, I suppose. So they leave with whatever salary the villagers could afford to pay the Hound, plus a jug of ale, as promised, and Arya notices that Sandor now has a second-hand sword. He swapped the old axe for a sword that someone had in their house. I guess they figured an axe would be more useful to them, which makes sense to the villagers. What makes a lot less sense to Arya, and she spends a lot of time pondering over that, is why the Hound figured a sword would be more useful to him if it's true, as they say, that he's done, killing people, his murdering days are over, and that he's lost the stomach for combat and all that. What is he doing with an old sword he has to keep sharpening every day if he never intends to use it, and never intends to use it again? Anyway, so they're headed back to the Riverlands now because A, the weather is nicer over there, and B, we're back to the initial plan of hopefully delivering Arya to Uncle Brynden, the Blackfish. Clearly, the Hound has done his homework. I mean, knowing Arya's entire family tree, except that, just like Liza, Brynden doesn't have a clue what Arya even looks like. And besides, Arya has now come to realize a sad truth about the Song of Ice and Fire. A plan, when announced, never comes to fruition. Or in her words, whenever I head for Riverrun, I always end up somewhere worse. So she proposes, hey, why don't we head for the Wall? Yeah, the Wall, capital W. My brother John, is there, the guy who musses my hair, calls me little sister, flexes his sword hand, Yeah, nah. Out of the question, Arya, dear, my dear. In the 1,000 leagues between here and the wall, there's all sorts of dangers. Freys, lizard lions, ironborn holding half the north, not to mention the Northmen as well, is what the Hound replies to that. Like, I keep marveling, by the way, at how well informed the Hound actually is. I mean, clearly it does know how to gather intelligence. So this is Arya's opportunity to ask Sandor, aha, so it's true that you've turned chicken shit, huh? If you're scared of all those dangers out there, huh? Really pushing her luck, I feel. But, yeah. But all the Hound does is he grabs the hare they've been spit roasting under the fire, hands half to Arya, and just goes, yeah, here. I want to read you the quote. There's nothing wrong with my belly, but I don't give a rat's arse for you or your brother. I have a brother too. There. Now, I've been puzzling over that last sentence of this chapter, because you'd be hard-pressed to find a single sentence in this series of books that you could call redundant, right? Every sentence is there for a purpose, especially in this installment. So why does George have the Hound say that out of the blue? Is it just a ploy to remind readers of a character's existence? You know, George R. R. Martin does that sometimes, you know, when he plans to bring them back soon. Our next chapter is, of course, Tyrion, and that's all I'll say about it. It's a Tyrion POV. Somehow, Sandor's brother might or might not play a part in the... never mind. Or maybe is it that Sandor is simply saying, yeah, well, brothers, I don't much care for my own brothers, so you can imagine how much I care about yours. I don't know, that's a bit weak. Or is that in relation to the sword he has now acquired? As if to say, yeah, well, my combat days might be over, but not before I kill this one last man, my brother. I don't know. Okay. How is it that content creators say under these circumstances? What is it they say? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay. Nah, because it sounds so much catchier when they say it. But yeah. So yeah, and they also say, look, if you, this is something else they say. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to do all of the things. Because, dear listener, we have now reached the end of Arya 12 from the Storm of Swords, and that's pretty much it. I look forward to speaking to you again when I'll be reading that Tyrion 9 chapter. So until then, all the best. Speak to you soon. Ciao.